Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game is on the way, and to talk about it, we have some extra special guests.
Hey, true believers, this is Bill Roseman, VP of Creative here at Marvel Games.
Hi guys, my name is Jean-François Dugas. I'm the Senior Creative Director at Eidos Montreal.
And I'm Mary DeMarle, and I am the Senior Narrative Director at Eidos Montreal, and super excited to talk about this game today.
Yes, I'm super excited. We all just saw the demo where in this Guardians of the Galaxy game, the player controls Star-Lord in a third-person action adventure where the other Guardians follow him around, banter with him, give him a hard time, and he gives them commands during battle, which I thought was really interesting. So my first question for you guys is, what made you want to showcase Star-Lord as the player character and have him control the Guardians, as opposed to, letting the player switch between the characters or make it a multiplayer game or something like that?
When we started this project, the first thing we did is to discuss with Marvel Games, Bill and his colleagues. And initially the talks were about we want you guys to run with the Guardians of the Galaxy and make it your own, create a new version that will feel fresh and unique and everything. So when we came back to Montreal, we started to discuss about different opportunities like multiplayer, co-op, or anything. But we were looking at what is the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's all about the characters, and it's all about those colorful personalities clashing with each other, and sometimes getting along. And it's a mix of all these things with their qualities, their flaws. And we were, it would be freaking awesome if you could be one of the Guardians, and putting you at the center of that team and surrounded by those characters. And this is how it came to be if you're Star-Lord, you're the so-called leader because you're not necessarily leading them officially. And sometimes the Guardians, they will make decisions on their own and everything. But we thought that kind of, I would say that ecosystem in which they can be characters on their own, make their own decisions, have their own reactions, and you as the so-called leader, the player, decide how to react to those things. And we thought that the purpose of that was really, really, really exciting. So we dove into that and explored what it would mean for the game.
That's awesome. So one of my favorite things from the gameplay footage that we saw was there's this team huddle ability where Peter Quill picks a song and it gives his team this big combat boost, and they're glowing, and it looks really cool. So I'm curious, what kind of songs do we have to choose from? How deep is the playlist here?
Well, when you think of the Guardians of the Galaxy, you definitely think of the licensed music. And in ours, Star-Lord being a child of the 80s, Peter Quill being a child of the 80s, we have 30 amazing 80s classic songs that everything from Iron Maiden to Rick Astley to Kiss to Wham! And it's a lot of fun. And it's more, as you saw with the huddle, it's more than just something that's in the game to support the action and the combat and the cinematics. We have this whole gameplay aspect called the huddle.
Yeah, and in the huddle, it's when you're in combat, as you play, if you're doing great combos, you're engaged with your Guardians and everything, so you're getting some momentum, and with that momentum, it helps to fill the gauge for the huddle. And when this gauge is filled, you can use it at any given time. So maybe you're in trouble, you're struggling on the battlefield, or things are going well. So when you summon that, Peter goes guys, huddle, and they go into a huddle a little bit like American football. And the Guardians, when they come in, they will give you some hints, feedback about how they're doing on the battlefield. And now you will have a pep talk choice to choose from, in which Peter is going to draw from the songs he knows to build his own speech. And if you're able to match the right speech with the right feedback of the Guardians, you boost the entire team. And all the cooldowns are gone, they're all on fire, all the HP points are coming back, everybody is super efficient on the battlefield. And if you choose the wrong
The wrong speech.
A pep talk, the wrong speech. Peter is still boosted because like he thinks is awesome. Like, wow, my speech was fantastic, and he's boosted anyway, so he's on fire. But the Guardians are going back on the battlefield, going like WTF? Like, what was that? Like, I don't get that kind of thing. So that's the idea.
That is great.
This sort of illustrates how much the team at Eidos Montreal thought through everything. They just didn't take music and just slap it on there. They thought about and were very strategic and thought about how can we really make the music part of the gameplay, and how can we illuminate and spotlight what is it like to be Star-Lord trying to bring this team together, and then what will that effect have being Star-Lord on the rest of the team. And coming in through music is a perfect way to really get at what is unique about Star-Lord. He's not the alien. He's the half human, half alien that's out there in space, and he brings that music with him.
I love that. Music has become a quintessential Guardians thing, and the way you've incorporated it into the game sounds really fun and really cool. So, Bill, what can you tell us about the story? Like how long have they been Guardians? What's the big event that gets the adventure going?
So, as Jeff and Mary said, we really wanted to present a Guardian story that would be, immediately recognizable, but still ownable and unique. And so the player would say, well, I know this is the Guardians, but I haven't experienced this version of the Guardians. So in this story, our backstory is about 12 years ago, there was a big galactic war. And the universe and the characters themselves are still recovering from this. And out of the chaos and war comes opportunity. And so Peter Quill, as Star-Lord, is looking to, make some money, but at the same time, he has this buried deep down inside this heart of gold. So he wants to make some money, but also do some good. And so he gathers together some like-minded individuals who, like himself, are underdogs, who feel all alone, feel like they don't have a family, are in search of redemption, in search of something to belong to, in search of a way to prove themselves. And he brings them together as the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he even has a business card that he's passing around. So at this time, the Guardians are still trying to prove themselves to the universe. And so you, as Star-Lord, you are trying to hold this team together as you're going through the adventure. And as every Marvel story, it's got drama, it's got action, it's hilarious, it's filled with characters from throughout the history of the Guardians, going all the way back, looking to the 60s, all the way to the 70s, to the modern day iteration of the Guardians. So it's a great mix of kind of the best of ingredients, everything you'd want in a Guardians adventure. And for the specific story, without giving any spoilers, essentially the Guardians accidentally knock over some dominoes, if you will, and they turn out to have grave implications across the universe. And every good Marvel story is a sense of responsibility, power and responsibility. And they feel we caused this to happen, we must solve it. And the rest of the universe looks at them and says, a talking raccoon in a tree, you're gonna solve this? And you as Star-Lord says, hey, we're more than this, and yes, we are gonna take care of this, and have fun along the way.
Very cool, very cool. That sounds like a really intriguing setup. In the footage we saw, what appears to be at least the initial villain of the game is Lady Hellbender, who I recognize from the totally awesome Hulk comic book, but I imagine a lot of people have not seen her. They don't know who she is. Yes. So what can you tell us about why you chose her, and what is she up to in the game that she's given the Guardians such a hard time?
Well,
I can jump in on that one, actually.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, let me jump in. That was one of the things that was really came from the collaboration with Marvel. It was really, really great because we basically started working on that storyline, and we would come up with ideas for, roles in the story. And in this case, we needed to find a character who the Guardians were going to attempt to con, and who is a very, very tough gangster-like person with how we were looking at it. And we approached Bill with it, and we were saying, hey guys, what kind of character could fill this role? And it was at that point that Bill and his team came back to us and said, well, you know what? We think you should look into Lady Hellbender. And so we did, and he passed along the comics to us, and we started reading all about her and everything. And we were very pleased to see that with a few little tweaks to our storyline, she was the perfect character for it. And that's kind of how she came into our story.
That is really cool because I do love that about Marvel games in general, of using characters that a lot of people maybe haven't heard of. I remember when Spider-Man was announced, Mr. Negative showed up, people said, who's that? And now again there's this, who is Lady Hellbender? So I feel like people are going to have a really good time meeting her. And I think I saw her two goons was in the footage as well, right? Those Redskin guys. So I think people are going to be yes, I think the people are going to be happy to see what she's all about.
And again, that's why the team is so smart. We just, we give them all the ingredients. We say, oh, you want to make a Guardians game? Here's all these books. Here's all these comics. You do a deep dive into it, and you come back and tell us what catches your eye. And in that way, as you said, we can have characters that people know very well, and then we can sort of introduce characters to the world. And what that does is it just opens it up. And again, it picks characters, and Jeff and Mary did it. They cherry picked characters from throughout the Guardians timeline and mixed it all together in a way that no other medium has done before. And so they're going to tell a story that is familiar, but also very surprising. And because of this mix and little tweaks here and there they made, even the most diehard Guardians fan isn't going to know where the story is going.
That sounds very cool. That's actually all the time we have for now, but thank you so much for talking to me about the Guardians of the Galaxy game. It looks really cool. I can't wait to play it. And for everyone at home, it's coming out on October 26th this year, which is very soon. And stick around for more.
Thank you.
Thanks
for the time, Josh. Thank you, true believers. We hope you love Guardians of the Galaxy.